achieved.
Hello, world, and welcome in to Studio Day Heifer. It's nice to see you. Once again, I want to thank you and remind you that if you're watching this video, a lot of times I will take out of the comments for my topic for the next day. So if you have something you want to hear about, leave it in the comments. Por favor. Today's topics include a lot of stuff from people who left comments on the last video, some stuff from Twitter, and the topics that I think need to be discussed today. First of all, we're going to talk about Jason Witten. He wants to come back to the Cowboys. Under what circumstances do you want that to happen? Under what circumstances do I think that should happen? It's very specific. We'll also talk about Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones. I don't know if you guys saw, but Jerry last night with another comment on will Jimmy go in the Ring of Honor? What do you think? Will he go? And Tyron Smith is a topic of discussion today as well. So I'm going to start with Jason Witten. You want to know the circumstances that I would take Jason Witten back on the Cowboys? Sure, here you go. League minimum, and you're told coming into camp that you are not the starter. Not that it's an open competition. No. Jason Garrett's gone. This is a speed, athleticism, break tackles, big play. That's what this league is. Jason Witten still has value. I do believe that his leadership has value. I'd also tell him when he came back, I'd be like, don't worry about how much money you make. You need to step back forward into a leadership capacity. I don't think that the young group on this football team did a good enough job stepping up and being leaders and getting guys to play football the right way. So if you want to bring back old man Witt and old man Sean Lee, I got to see what Stomp's doing. She is really, what are you doing over there, fool? Did you lose a ball? I think she lost a ball under a bookshelf. We'll get it in a minute. Fiddle farting around during the video. So I want Jason Witten to come back. If it doesn't cost much against the cap, if he's going to know that his role is more player coach than just player, and if he understands that Blake Jarwin's the starter at tight end. He gets, what was his numbers last year? I don't have Jarwin's in front of me, but I feel like Witten was an 8-yard per catch guy, and Jarwin was like 14. This is easy. Blake Jarwin's our tight end. And the blocking, Witten's a great blocker. They're both terrible blockers at this point in their career. So if you're using the blocking to prop up Witten, just know it's a bad idea because he's a bad blocker now too. Sweet man, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest Cowboys of all time. Love to have you back. Just know you're not the starter. It's Jarwin time, baby. It's the age of the Wookiee tight end. I'm just going to get this for Stump. Stump. I mean, for real. What did you lose? Yes, we got it. Got it handled. No problem. All right, we good now? Oh, now she lost it under the couch. I'll get it in a minute. You just hold your horses. So that covers Witten, right? Come on back. Lead these young men. Show them what it's about. Show them where the secret is. The secret's in the dirt. Show them all that. That'll be great. And you can play about 25% of the snaps, maybe. Something like that. And I'm not afraid to add another tight end. Probably need to anyway. Be looking around. See what we can find at tight end. This is going to be the most annoyed I've ever been during a video. I get it, Stump. Okay, I'm going to come get it. Yep, I got you. Be right back. Chill out. Chill out. Okay, all right. Okay. Yep. Uh-huh. There's two of them. So she definitely lost it there. Don't let it go under the couch, stupid head. Welcome back. Next topic of discussion, and this one, I believe, comes from a comment on the last video, which is about Tyron Smith. Let me find it. I got to do some scrolling. Here we go. From Brandon. Do you think it's time to start talking about getting a new left tackle? Tyron Smith health is not getting any better. It's a fair question, but I think the Cowboys' winning window is open as long as this offensive line's really, really good. So is it surprising that last year Tyron Smith was the Cowboys' third best offensive lineman? Yeah, that's a little surprising. But he was still good. He was not elite. Lyle Collins was awesome. Zach Martin was awesome. Tyron Smith was good. And I think Travis Frederick is on his path back to awesome. But I think by the end of the year, I would say that Travis Frederick was good. So we'll see what happens at left guard. The thing about Tyron is, look at his contract. When he signed it, he signed the most team-friendly contract I've ever seen. Excuse me. As an elite left tackle, the deal that he signed at 8 years and $97 million. I don't have the top paid left tackles in the league pulled up, but Tyron Smith's cap hits in 2020 and then 21, 22, 23. He's got 4 years left, and his cap hit is $13.5 million each year. The dead money after this coming up year is almost nothing, and then the 3 years after that, or the 2 years after that, it is nothing. So you've got that option. And if you wanted to fire some shots at draft picks in this draft or the next draft, and you wanted to take some shots on mid-round guys that you thought had a chance to develop into something, you could do that. But I'm not in a hurry to replace Tyron Smith because he's still good. He's still affordable. Life is good. You're all right. Lyle Collins stepping up was incredible. To have an even better tackle than Tyron on your roster, that's pretty sweet. So the offensive line is really good, and I don't want to mess with that. Let's just see who wins the competition between Connor Williams and Connor McGovern. They may have to replace – here's the thing. I was at dinner last night with Brian Broaddus, Brad Sham, and some guy named Kevin. And we talked a little bit about this roster in general. We kept talking about how good they're going to be next year, and Brad Sham's comment kept being, who's on the team? We have to know who's on the team because we know the main guys who they got big decisions to make on, but we don't talk about they probably need to upgrade Cam Fleming. Having him out there was hurting you. Xavier Suafilo hurt himself, and I don't want to say bad things about a hurt guy, but he wasn't good. Joe Looney, are you going to replace him? Like, they have a lot of work to do. Everybody talks about the $80 million they got, but nobody wants to acknowledge they got 20 players to replace, 25, not 4. You don't have to replace Malik Collins and Byron Jones. You got to replace so many dudes on this football team. And to me, Tyron Smith is not one of them. At LilTrue18 on the tweeter, he said, in 3 years, will our number 17 pick be elite at their position, unlike Taco? Whew, that might be a great question for the radio show today because that's kind of long form, right? At pick 17, if you pick, I could go position by position and say if I think the guy would be elite. Grant Delpit would have a chance to be elite. Flip a coin. I think he's got the traits. He's got the tools that he could be elite. So that one's interesting. If you got Javon Kinlaw, the defensive tackle from South Carolina, to make it to 17, I think he's got a chance to be an elite NFL player at his position. The corners I don't feel quite as good about, whether you're talking Christian Fulton, Trevon Diggs, Jeff Gladney, whoever else you might have in the mix there as a first-round corner, C.J. Henderson. I wouldn't bet on any of them being elite. I would bet on them being good players. But they're not going to taco this thing. That's the beauty of being at 17 instead of 27 is in an NFL draft, depending on what team you ask, they'll have between 16 and 21, 22 maybe, first-round grades. When you're picking at 27, Taco wasn't a first-round grade. And they also cheated their board. He wasn't at the top of their board. But that wasn't a first-round grade. Picking at 17, they'll have first-round grades available. So they'll pick a player that they really, really like. So that's pretty encouraging. I like that. But the Taco thing, that does remind me of my video the other day. And I disclaimered you. You don't want to make a big reach. You got to have tags touching if you're going to follow my plan of why I think safety makes the most sense. If you don't love any of the safeties, then you don't pick one. But the draft does set up that I could see that being one of the very top players on your board at 17, and other spots that you need would fit really nicely as you go down through the other round. So there's that. Jimmy and Jerry today. And what Jeff Pertite said, if we go for QB first pick, what would that mock look like? Oh, dear. What are you going to slap Jordan Love on this team and hope he could develop? Get Tua to 17 with a positive medical report. I'll dance with you. I'll take Tua. I'll take league minimum. Dak might be holding out. Dak ain't trying to get tagged. Dak's trying to get a contract. But again, that's long form stuff. We'll do that on the radio. Jimmy versus Jerry round 500 was last night. I saw Jerry Jones. I'm really struggling to make words today. I saw Jerry Jones getting into his vehicle at the TMZ, I guess, was following him around after he met Aaron Donald and was like, this is a war daddy. After he met Aaron Donald, I saw him getting into his vehicle, and TMZ was like, is Jimmy going to go in the Ring of Honor? And he said, aren't we proud of him for the Hall of Fame? And that was his answer. Man, if anybody tells you that those two, like, oh, they're just poking each other, they like each other, they are full of it. Those two do not like each other. I'm starting to think Jimmy will never get in the ring. He's going to be a Hall of Famer who's not in the Ring of Honor. It's absurd, but that's the way life is. All right, leave in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube page. Turn on the notifications so you catch every video. Duh. And leave in the comments what you want to talk about. I'll do a video tomorrow maybe on a Saturday. I just need the proper content. I need you to help me create the content. So thank you guys for listening. Check 1053thefan.com every day. I'll see you on the radio in just a bit.